But that's alright. Hush.
Yo, what's up, clickers? Actually, no, this is Editor Click here, and I'm actually voicing over this video on the first 5 days of me surviving 100 days of Minecraft PE with my friend Thicker Squash. And I'm gonna put a starting map. I am gonna put an infinite type. The seed. Yeah, you gotta know. The seed's gonna be Melon Man because Thicker Squash's skin is called Melon Man. But this is the first 5 days that I'm gonna be narrating of my 100-day survival that is nearly done. We are done 70 days so far, so this should be, well, the finished project should be out by June, hopefully. But as you guys can see right now, we're generating the world. You saw us make sure there was no cheeks on, put the seed in and everything. But here is the world that we have generated. Please, let's see it. This is Thicker Squash. Yo, it's Thicker Squash 32. He will be joining me in this series. And he looks like a pretty dopey noob skin, but he's actually not a noob at Minecraft. He's the biggest pro of all time. But Thicker Squash does not play on my PE. He usually plays on Java on his PC, so he took a bit of time for him to get used to the controls. He played a bit of PE, but he's not that familiar with it, so he had to get used to the controls. But as you can see at the start, just like any other Minecraft Let's Play, we're chopping down wood. Just because it's 100 days, just because hard mode, there's no difference. I was tempted to install the hardcore mod pack, but I did not because I wanted it not to be... I want it to be straight in vanilla Minecraft without mods. I'm glad I did, because if I didn't do that, we'd have died multiple times. And this is Thicker Squash. Well, we couldn't die multiple times. Hardcore, you die once and then you're over. But as you can see, we're doing everything a normal person would do. Crafting table, sticks, Thicker Squash, amazing skin. Let's make some planks over here. And we made a pickaxe. Actually, no, we didn't make a pickaxe. I thought we made a pickaxe. We made an axe. But we decided to start killing sheep. While Thicker Squash looked for a cave, I was gathering a bit of food. But Thicker Squash was just running around and doing nothing useful at this time, while I was being the hard-working man and chopping down all the wood. And guys, this video style may be a bit different because this video is being edited by something other than iMovie, and I'm gonna stick with it. I'm not gonna tell you what I'm editing it with. That's for a Q&A video. But as you guys can see here, me and Thicker Squash found a really good cave off the bat right here. It goes like super down as far as I can see from here, and we decided, excuse me, and I decided to get some cobblestone at this point to make a furnace and stone tools, and things were going the way it should be. So far, Thicker Squash had his own crafting table down there. He was making some furnaces and stuff, and I was just gathering cobblestone at this point in time. Thicker Squash likes to PvP with an axe instead of a sword at early game for some reason, because the sword apparently costs more resources, but if it were me, the axe would already be half broken because I'm chopping trees with it. But Thicker Squash prefers axes, even though I offered to make him a sword. But we're still gathering some more cobblestone at this point while Thicker Squash is going down for some iron. And yeah, it was just smooth sailing for the next 5 minutes or so. Just mining away, and we're doing fantastic. We got some cobblestone. I know I wasn't deep enough iron yet, but we will be there in like two seconds. You see, I think Thicker Squash is gathering iron like right now, and I'm just gathering a bunch of cobblestone to help with the start of the journey. Like, it's gonna be 100 days. That's quite a while. That's like 33 hours or something of Minecraft. Like, that's a lot of Minecraft and on PE. I'm not sure if it being on PE makes it easier or harder. In my opinion, it makes it harder because the controls are a lot different, and Thicker Squash is getting some iron. I was looking down there. The cave was looking nice and fresh. I just got a bit more cobblestone. I wanted to get a stack of cobblestone and go straight down into that cave, but I ended up with 64, a full stack. I saw a spider, got scared, pulled out my sword, and decided to warn Thicker Squash about the upcoming mobs. But this cave looked pretty okay. At this point in time, Thicker Squash thought I was trying to kill him and sabotage the run, but I wasn't. It was an accident, clearly. And I put down me crafting table. Thicker Squash had made some torches. He accidentally placed 2. I saw some iron. I know there was a spider there, but it didn't dare bother me, so I didn't dare bother it. And Thicker Squash fell because I mined that block of iron. And there were so many routes to this cave, but I decided to stick with Thicker Squash in the same one because this is a hard mode. It's gonna be hard, and we're trying not to die. Just because it's hardcore doesn't mean we can't die. We don't want to die. Dying would not be ideal at this point in time. But Thicker Squash was gathering coal, I was gathering cobble, it was all good, fine and dandy. We were going down the cave. We were planning to stay here for like 5 days or so. Gonna find diamonds, find iron, maybe a mine shaft. It was gonna be amazing. And then we realized a problem a few minutes later that I won't tell you just yet. And we were looking at how big this cave was. This cave's actually a really good cave. A shame I didn't explore more of it. And I got annoyed because the torch was on the coal, and I didn't like torches on coal. But this is the point in time where we realized our biggest mistake. We had no food. So I volunteered to valiantly go into the surface and fight for food. I gave Thicker Squash my 2 mutton that I got from a sheep, bid him farewell, and went up into the darkness. And as I was mining up and I reached the top, my biggest fear came true. It was nighttime, where all the monsters were out to get me. There could be a creeper right behind me. I had no idea. I had 21 torches and I saw the sheep. I had to go gamble for Thicker Squash. For the run, I had to get this mutton. But besides that sheep, I didn't really see any food anywhere. Like, I was expecting cows and stuff. I didn't really see anything, so I decided to light this place up a little bit. And I got a wooden shovel and made a boat because there were no food anywhere. There was no food. There was no sheep, no cows, no pigs, no chickens. And I wasn't gonna stoop so low as to bring back rotten flesh for Thicker Squash to eat. So in our adventures, we stumbled across a chicken, another chicken, and last but not least, nothing else. Legit, we found 2 chicken. And then I decided to start cooking the chicken with my wood because I did not gather any coal as the idiot I am. And I was waiting for the sheep to grow up so I could kill it. But this chicken will have to do. And there's a zombie. The first mob of the run I am fighting, and it is an iron shovel. It stood no chance. I thought I was being extremely heroic, and Thicker Squash would be on his knees thanking me for the food. But then it became morning, and a frightening thing happened. I was killing the sheep, I was gonna go for another one, but then there was a ninja creeper. There was a ninja creeper that I didn't spot, and I ran away like a little cat. That creeper, that ninja, that nearly got me. But he didn't get me because I ran away like the coward I was, and I decided that since it's morning and the sheep did not grow overnight, it was time to go back and help out Thicker Squash. He was quite far away though. I was kind of shocked at how far he'd gotten. And it was my time to get over there, threw my boat and mine straight down, hopefully not falling into any lava. But this baby sheep did not grow up, and I see a real sheep there. For one last piece of meat will help Thicker Squash immensely. So I decided to give him get the meat, I guess, and more meat. And even more meat. That was a lot of sheep, and I kind of got carried away, and Thicker Squash was practically starving to death at this point. But I decided that if I gave Thicker Squash food, he would owe me a full set of iron armor. I know, I'm a very reasonable person. And I killed the black sheep, and that may have cost me. And I realized Thicker Squash was, like, right under me. So I decided to do what I feared most, dig straight down. I broke the #1 rule of Minecraft. And I mined into quite a lot of stuff, coal, a bit of iron, but if I were to reach Thicker Squash, it would be hard, and I stumbled across it. The abandoned mine shaft. Thicker Squash told me he was on half a heart. Unfortunately, he's not recording this, and his perspective is probably a lot more interesting, because he was running from cave spiders and fighting a bunch of mobs while I was on the surface cowering from a ninja creeper. But I saw his name tag, so I decided it was time to meet up with him. After a lot of mining and mining into water somehow, I ended up next to my friend Thicker Squash. And not only was he starving to death, my friends, do you know what he was? He was stubborn enough to get himself a full set of iron armor and still beg for me to come and save. No, he didn't, actually. He kind of really deserved the full set of iron armor, especially since after that he gave me some iron ore too, so I could practically make a full set of iron armor. And I valiantly passed him the food, and he didn't want to take it because my food was rubbish. Just kidding, he took it, and he ate it very graciously, and he gave me, like a lot of iron ore in return. He gave me like 22 iron in return, and it was great. And I decided to start smelting this iron with my one piece of coal that I will use. And once I use that up, I don't know what to do. But I did some strip mining while the iron was smelting, and I stumbled across more iron. And once the iron was finished, I was able to make myself a full set of iron armor and some beds for us to sleep and not get attacked by phantoms. I was truly the savior. The knight in iron armor, they called me. Click greatness the knight. And I was trying to figure out how to make a helmet, and I saw it, and I made it, and I was in a full set of iron armor, just like Thicker Squash, and boy, I looked handsome. I looked so handsome. But we spent the rest of our days trying to mine upwards. It took a lot of mining. And I realized I was at diamond level, but I decided no, but I didn't go mining for diamonds because I don't know why. And I decided I eventually got out of here. And once I did get out of here, I felt so relieved because I was like 5 minutes of straight mining up. And it was nighttime, the night of day 2. There was a pig. I couldn't kill the pig, could I? But I had made it to the surface. And I was in the gravel mountains, where there were creepers and zombies everywhere. But I was so happy that I made it up onto the surface, I decided not to kill the pig. And I decided to look at that creeper right in the face and challenge it to a duel. But I had a shield, so I was fine. Mwahaha. But then I decided to pull out my bed. Thicker Squash was already sleeping because he actually ended up somewhere good, and I ended up in the complete opposite direction of him. And in the morning, I set out to go find camp, and a zombie tried to sneak up on me, but he failed. So as the morning of day 3 rolled out, I picked up my bed and decided to go looking for Thicker Squash and took a well-deserved chicken break. But after eating chicken, I swam all the way back to the swamp where Thicker Squash was setting up a bit of furnaces and chests. I was assuming he was just mining some wood, and he didn't even see me. But I was correct, he was putting furnaces in chests, as we can see on the screen right here. And he put like so many chests, and he found this, and it shook me. 4 diamonds, 1 emerald, a stack of redstone, and a stack of lapis. Like, it shook me to the core. But we decided that we couldn't stay here, and we had to find a suitable home. But during the night of day 3, we found an ocean monument. If I was stupid, I would go raid it. Some people can raid ocean monuments with just full iron armor and an iron sword, but not me. And if you're wondering why the graphics looks like Xbox 360 graphics, I kind of had to get rid of the shadows because you couldn't... The night was pitch black. It was so dark that I had to make it look like 360 graphics. Like, that's how dark it was. I accidentally fell. The Elder Guardian gave us mining fatigue. I did not appreciate that. we swapped drivers and decided to go look for somewhere where in day 4 we would settle down, hopefully. But we said goodbye to the ocean monument, goodbye to our dolphin friends, and looked for land. We didn't find no land. The entire night we started sailing and more sailing, but we found no land. We found one of these ocean ruins though, and we thought it might be a chest, so me and Thicka Squash decided to go in. But for some reason I'm having this glitch where the screen shakes so violently, and it legit doesn't let me move, so I wasn't in the best shape to get a chest. Thicka Squash went in anyway. I tried to help him by killing the drowned, but I decided to go for the loot anyways, and there was no loot, as I could see. And I was gonna drown, so me and Thicka Squash made the executive decision for a tactical retreat. Once we got on the boat, I know it still looks like 360 graphics, it'll only be for like another 2 minutes. We decided to run away from all of our fears, and it worked pretty nicely, if I do say so myself. We found some land, finally, if I do say so. We finally found land, and we finally decided to find a part in the world that had a good spot to build a base. And we could get rid of 360 graphics extremely soon, but it's still pitch black. And it was about to be the morning of the wonderful day 4. And we got an achievement called Adventure Time. I don't remember what that one was for, but we got out of the boat and decided to go exploring and decided to find some place so we can stay and call home. But on our adventures, we found a ravine. It was a nice ravine, and this happened. Yeah, Thicka Squash died. Nope, he did not die. He survived on half a heart. Once again, in the mine shaft, the cave spiders killed him to half a heart. Here, he nearly died and was on half a heart. I bet you guys really wish that you could see his perspective instead of mine right now. But he once again was not recording, and that's extremely sad, and he didn't record any of it, so. While he was off to explore the cave, I was shearing sheep, and I was finding a good place to set up base camp, and I was killing these cows for some meat, so when Thicka Squash came up, he could have a beautiful meal, but as you can see on this screen, I found a village among my travels. It was great. Like, look. There's a pretty nice village and a sunflower field right here. I wondered if there was a stronghold beneath it. Probably not. I hope there's a stronghold underneath it. I'm not sure just yet at the time of recording this. But there was a barrel, and there was a pretty small house. There was nothing good. I decided to get rid of the barrel because I like barrels more than chests. And Thicka Squash was quite far away right now. But the village was actually pretty close. I decided to set up camp pretty near here, and Thicka Squash decided to get out of that cave and start making camp. But the most important part of the village is obviously the food. And me and Thicka Squash were kind of struggling on food, so on day 4 in the afternoon, I'm not ashamed to say I had raided the village for hay bales. And I saw a horse and cows in the pen. I couldn't help but ring the bell. But if I do ever get a horse in the series, tell me what to name him down below. Guys, in the comments. What do we name a horse if we get one in this series? Please tell me. But we got rid of the rest of the hay. But there was more hay. Somehow. But we also found emeralds and bread and apples and more hay. And yes, we're not in 360 graphics anymore. But by the time it was sunset, instead of settling down in the village, I decided to go back to base camp and check on Thicka Squash, because I was able to salvage 2 yellow beds. Do not worry, I took the yellow beds and put the white beds back in the village. So it was an even trade-off. It's just that we got colors, they didn't. Even Steven, in my opinion. And it was getting night, so the monsters were going to come after me. I am not going to set it to 360 graphics, and that's a good thing. But as I neared base camp, I saw Thicka Squash on top of a pile of dark oak logs. And this is what he got done. I was honestly expecting like a 5x5 little shack, but this is it's a foundation. but that we slept soundly in the night of day 4. But, in the morning of day 5, we woke up to being shot at. I thought the Squash was attacking me. Turns out he wasn't. I was scared there was an arrow. I realized the evidence, put 2 and 2 together, and Thicka Squash charged heroically after the skeleton and killed it very easily. And this is day 5. So, welcome to day 5, guys. I decided to put down the chest, and then we could start storing our stuff, but Thicka Squash was busy with the foundation of the base. I, on the other hand, was getting some sand so I could smelt it to make some glass, because Thicka Squash loves glass, and he wanted to design the base, so I let him. Decided to go get some sand for him. I may only be using a wooden shovel, but it's as powerful as a diamond one, is what I would like to say, but it really wasn't. It wasn't, I wish it was. It really wasn't. But in the evening of day 5, I headed back to base camp, and this is what he built. I was honestly expecting worse, but he built a pretty small-sized house. It looked small, but it was homey, and I saw an intruder, and I immediately sliced his zombie parts into a bunch of limbs, and blocked him with my shield, because I wanted to test out my shield skills. They were impenetrable, obviously. Thicka Squash did not have the nobility to set torches around the place, though, and I didn't have any torches. And I had the barrel that I got from the village, and that was it practically. I smacked Thicka Squash straight up because he got rid of the beds, and if we died, we would have spawned in the swamp. But we put the beds back. I decided to sleep. Thicka Squash decided to sleep. And that was the end of day 5, and that was the end of the video. I'm sure the video went by super fast, but that was the first 5 days of my 100-day survival in Minecraft PE. Like, subscribe, and slam that bell for more. But guys, this click greatness, clicking off.